What's up, guys? It's Barney here from the Disciples, also known as Time on the Round on Format Library, and
Marcus Patel.
Yeah, and we wanted to show you guys our top 8 and top 4 lists. I came 5th place, Marcus came 4th place at the RBET 2. Big shout out to Keegan and everyone at Format Library, Jazz and all the guys putting on such a great tournament.
Amazing tournament.
But yeah, we played Lighsworn. It was a kind of special Lighsworn.
Sided into a different deck.
Sided
No one really saw it coming.
Sided into a different deck, and we'll show you that in a minute. But I guess we'll go through the main deck, and then when we get to the side deck, we'll show you basically what we did, and we'll talk about our thought patterns and stuff, and why we did it. So, yeah.
Yeah, sure. I think the standard, it was like 3 Wolf, 3 Raikou, 2 Lila, 1 Erin, 1 Jane, 1 Gareth, 1 Lumina, 1 Celestia. We probably played a smaller Lightsworn engine than like a normal Lightsworn deck just because of how we sided. Like we didn't play multiple Celestias and we didn't play like cards like Arcus.
So you'll see things in this list that are a bit questionable in terms of like the regular Lightsworn deck. Like for example, 1 Celestia. Some people play 2 or 3, and some other choices in there as well. But the reason we had to do this was because of the side deck options. We had to make sure that our main deck and our side deck were compatible within 15 cards, so that when those 15 cards change out, it's a completely different deck with a completely different strategy, and we wouldn't have to, our deck wouldn't be hindered by having to keep certain cards in that we wouldn't if we were playing this other deck.
Yeah, it was pretty much so that it's so flexible. Like if you look at if you see the whole list, like the cards are just on average good cards and not really like archetype dependent.
Yeah. So that's 13 Lightsworns, and then of course, we played 2 JD.
Yeah, sure. These were 2 JD, 2 Honest. 1 Hamster, which was like, I thought that Hamster was sick.
Hamster was broken.
Because, like, especially them seeing the Raikous, they kind of have to play into it thinking it's a Raikou and you just get full value. And it kind of helps with, like, the Celestia and the other tribute monster that we play, which is also, where is it? Is it Caius? Caius.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I've definitely, like, Caius stuff from the Hamster.
So one of the compromises we had to make was cutting a Celestia for a Caius.
But I thought the Caius was actually really good.
I thought the Caius was really good.
Like, sometimes you just wanted to banish stuff and it gave you, like, different plays depending on the hand.
Yeah. So this is quite similar to, in the Pumpkin Games, our friend Connor, who's also in Disciples, he played like we called it Dirty Sworn. It was like a kind of Chaos Lightsworn variant.
High darks.
With a high dark count. Obviously we had to cut the Allure of Darkness just for space, but we ended up taking a lot of inspiration, like the one pro in the main, the Chaos Sorcerer. So yeah, but anyway, that's 26 monsters. Yeah.
The Diddy Crow was actually really good because it meant that since our side deck was limited, we kind of had a card where it was like a real side deck card in a lot of sense.
Yeah, for sure. Now on to spells.
Our spells are broken.
Our spells are so sick.
To be fair, Solar Recharge, which was like obviously like a god card.
Yeah, god card.
Then like literally, I think every spell is a limited card except 1. So Charge of Light Brigade, Cold Wave, OP, like this card, bannable, MST, Heavy Storm, Foolish Burial, Brain Control, Book of Moon. This was the only card that's not limited, but Book of Moon is obviously such a flexible card. Yeah, there's a lot of things.
And there are a lot of decks, this kind of deck, we'll show you when we get to it, but basically we sided into kind of a VAYU Turbo, and like a lot of VAYU Turbo decks do play cards like Book of Moon, the 1 Book of Moon, so it was important. Like there's a lot of coverage, you know?
Yeah, and the traps, we decided to play some defensive cards, and the last one doesn't tend to play like traps, but these are like, I think Resolving Dust Shoot turn 1 is massive.
Insane.
It's insane, yeah. And Judgment, I also think Judgment protects you from a lot of stuff, especially when you know what to hit. And Mirror Force was just a bit of a defense. I don't know, I thought Mirror Force was the same.
I think Mirror Force is great, because a lot of people expect something like Threatening Roar against, when they're playing against Lightsworn. So they'll overcommit, expecting something like a Threatening Roar, and you just hit them with a Mirror Force, you wipe their guys. And also, it's really good to be able to stick a Lightsworn, back it up with a Mirror Force, it survives a turn, you get to mill another 3 next turn. And also, like, these cards all, like, these carry over to this deck when you end up going through the smoke screen. Yeah. These are cards that are generically played in that.
Like, I didn't want to main TT because I hated getting rid of my Lightsworn when I was like applying pressure.
For sure.
And kind of Mirror Force just kept you.
For sure. Like Marcus said, we had to make decisions that would be good in both decks. So like Torrential Tribute, for example, is good in the deck that we smoke screen into, but in Lightsworn, it's bad because you want to keep your guys alive to get up the mills. Right.
Yeah, extra deck's pretty standard.
Yeah,
like in Edison, you're pretty, you don't have much choice.
Got the Time on the Round token. Got the Disciples token. But yeah, we have
The one level 5.
One level 5, 3 level 6s, Goyo, Brio, and Tempest.
I never made Tempest, to be fair.
I never made Tempest as well, but I can see it coming up.
Yeah, for sure. Like our friend Connor plays Lightsworns, and he's brought it up. He's made it a couple of times for sure.
Yeah. And you're keeping in Lila post board, so
yeah, pretty much we'll have a way to make it both games.
7s is Black Rose, just the Black Rose for the 7. The 8 is Stardust Dragon. We have Colossal Fighter. The level 8 is Colossal, Thought Ruler, Dark End, and the level 9 Mistworm.
Yeah.
And now this is where it gets spicy, guys. We have 2 Armed Wing, 2 Blackwing Armed Wing, 2 Armor Master, and 1 Silverwing Yourself.
And yeah, I thought it was enough. We didn't really need. I never really need the 3rd Armed Wing. I don't know about you.
No, me either. And like, we're not making this in the Lightsworn deck, guys. We're making this in what we
Side deck into.
Yeah, so basically the theory is we play game 1 with the Lightsworns, we hopefully smoke them game 1, blow them out, do some crazy mills, and then game 2, they're going to be siding in their Light Imprisonings, they're siding out their back row hate, they're going to be siding
and we're going to be siding in Oppression.
We're going to be siding in a full VAYU turbo deck.
Essentially a different deck.
So this is, like, you can see, it's an entire VAYU turbo. So we got 3 Sirocco, 3 VAYU, Armageddon Knight, 2 Dark Greffer, Dad, Broken, DD Crow, we've got Burial, Torrential, and 2 Oppression. And basically, we're just smokescreening into a completely different deck post-board.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but like there were so many games I just won because I had Oppression, and I just there were like literally so many games where I just won. I flipped Oppression and just won the game from there.
It's huge that they're siding out their Light Imprisonings. They're siding in their Light Imprisonings, and we're siding into a dark.
And they're just not siding into more back row.
But it's even bigger that you're playing, like, if I'm playing against Lightsworns, I'm thinking, okay, first thing I'm going to take out is my back row removal, and I'm going to put in more blowout cards like against Lightsworn. But now they've took out their back row removal. Now they have no out to Oppression, like literally no out.
Because the cards I saw, actually, I've seen people side in Soul Release. I don't know if they sided Soul Release against you. But like, it just isn't that good versus VAYU because you're kind of trading it like at best at like a half plus. Because usually when we have both these engraved, they're getting banished that turn. Yeah. You know, so it just like they didn't really like do much. And then some VAYU has like better matchups for some decks than Lightsworn do, and you can always like interchange, which was just like a better spread of matchups that I felt like. And post side, well, we can show you what we sided out.
Yeah, let's show what we sided out.
Because we kept in, we would keep it depending on the crows and stuff. We would take out, what is it? The Lightsworn engine, which was we took out 2 Honest always. We always took out the JD. We always took out the Celesta, the Lumina, Gareth. And the 3 Wolves. What is that? How many cards is that?
That is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 10.
See, I don't know about you. Sometimes I took out the Trigodia.
Yeah, me too.
And then we took out like these cards. We took out depending on the matchups because some matchups are like they play a lot of back row.
Yeah.
So Lila's really good, and Erin. I don't know if the deck revolved around setting monsters. Erin felt insane because you had the utility of just like Erin is actually really good against matchups where you're shuffling back cards like Sangan or I don't know.
There's sometimes they're setting
zombies, especially really. Zombies. I played against zombies and they're just hitting into Pyramid Turtles.
Yeah.
Jane is also good against the beatdown decks.
Yeah.
And we also kept in I think 1 or 2 solar recharges depending on the matchups. I don't know because we would have 3 Raikou, 2 or 3 of these combinations, especially the Roto and the Charge. And yeah, you especially get to resolve a solar recharge, and you don't really care about keeping a Lightsworn in hand in this deck because post side you care about the VAYU stuff, whereas in Lightsworn you kind of need to have 2 Lightsworns to resolve the solar recharge because you kind of want to normal summon a Lightsworn. But yeah, that's what we sided out.
For me, when I was playing, I was basically obviously you keep in 3 Raikou, like that's a card that's valuable in both Lightsworn and VAYU, so you keep in those, and then like you said, these. I'd either like if they're not so back row reliant, I'd take out 1 Lila and I'd put in these 3. Just great cards. Also searchable off Rota. So post side, like you got 6 of these, 6 Lightsworn names, plus Charge of the Light Brigade, plus Rota. So that's 8 Lightsworn names for 1 solar recharge.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've got 8 targets for our 1 solar recharge. So it's usually going to be live. If I was boarding into 5, so if I was going like say. Just 3 Raikou, 2 Lila. Say it was a back row deck and like I didn't think these were as valuable. Although a lot of the time I think this is valuable against a deck like Glads or against a deck like Blackwing. But if we were doing 5, then I would be more inclined to take out this. Especially if I'm not siding in Warriors. Because obviously the Warriors makes the Roto more live, but this is just 6 for 1 versus 8 for 1. So yeah, but if we were doing say like this, if we were doing say this, then obviously this would be in. So our side outs would be 2 solar recharge, a Lila 3, 3 wolf 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 trag. I'd take out trag a lot. I think you did as well.
Yeah, always took out trag.
14, and then it's just basically a case of
what's like, not good. Like, is the heavy storm? Is it like a no back row deck? So heavy storm's not good, or yeah, kind of just depends.
Exactly.
Or if DD Crow's not good, or Oppression's not good.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because we're maining a DD Crow. So if DD Crow's not good in the matchup, that comes out.
Oppression might be a bad card in the matchup. DD Crow might be bad. There's always something that we'll be able to take out.
And actually, this is another thing that was your idea when we were building, is that like, because we're siding a DD Crow and we've got a DD Crow in the main, it's not always the case, like Marcus said, where DD Crow will be a valuable card in the matchup. So obviously we only then need to side in 14 cards, at which point we take out 14. And like, we can always take out this Crow in the main and keep in, say, Trag, or keep in, I don't know, something else. But yeah, that's basically it.
I think one also cool thing to point out is that sometimes we actually don't side into the VAYU stuff if the VAYU deck already has a bad matchup. Like we would just keep the Lighsworn deck and then play the Lighsworn deck how it is, with like either we side in Crows or we actually side in Oppression too. Because I think there was a game where you played against Ancient Gear.
Yeah.
Because I think VAYU is a bad Ancient Gear matchup, and we kind of need to sack them with our big JD monsters and Chaos Sorcerer, and you kind of just.
When I played that matchup, I remember I was telling you after the match that when I played that matchup, I decided on keeping in Lighsworn because I feel like against that deck, they're bringing out a lot of big beaters, and the one thing that VAYU struggles with is getting over big monsters. That's why Dragons is a bad matchup, but also Ancient Gear. And because we don't have the privilege of being able to side Cyber Dragon, the matchup becomes harder for us. So like, if we keep in Lightsworns, we have Honest to beat over, we have JD as just a blowout, and if we play Oppression, I remember I sided in Torrential, I sided in...
Because we take out the Crow, so...
Yeah, I took out Crow. I was playing... I sided in 2 Oppression, I sided in Torrential, and I sided in Dad, because, like, we don't have to play VAYU to bring in Dad. Like, Connor in his Dirty Sworn list for the Pumpkin Games, he played Dad anyway, because there's enough Darks to facilitate it. So, yeah, that's what I put in. Well, actually, I think I put in one
armor just to turbo it.
Yeah, and this is why I like... Yeah, this is why I like the Armageddon Knight, because with reinforcement in the army, there's 2 ways to it, and it's a 1-card Goya Guardian or a Brio with play, sim play. So, yeah, so I just sided in those cards, and I think I'd have done the same for Dragons, except Dragons I'd have put in Crow. Because Dragons, especially the Dragon deck that ended up beating me and putting me in the losers bracket, Pro Storm, shouts to you, man, you're an amazing duelist. He basically, his deck was back row reliant, and he was setting up multiple Red Eyes Wyverns in the grave for his Red MD, so DD Crow was strong against hitting those Red Eyes Wyverns, like hitting their targets.
Yeah, Dragons is a bad matchup. I think we just kept with Lightsworn versus that deck because I just wasn't confident on VAYU going into Pro Storm's Dragons. But
so yeah,
we could talk about matchups though, because I think that gives like how did we side versus the like quickly. Because I know I played against my first round was against like Dark Synchro Zombies.
Yeah.
So I think I went with VAYU. I posted that into VAYU with Oppression, and I think Oppression won me that game 2. And my round 3 and 4, I was against Blackwings. And like going into Blackwings, this is another really strong thing about the VAYU deck. Is like we're literally going into free Sirocco, and Sirocco has an amazing effect where it just gains attack.
Yeah.
It was literally insane. Like again, the Blackwing matchup just felt so free because they kept in all they're keeping their oppressions, they're keeping their bad cards, and we're literally sided in like a free of amazing card versus that deck.
For real.
That we're not expecting. And then I played against Zombies, and I thought Zombies was a good matchup. It kind of like overlaps where they just don't side in any outs to Oppression, and then I have like Lightsworn cards. I think I side into VAYU again, but I have stuff like in my VAYU deck. I would have stuff like Erin, which kind of does well. And then I play against Dragons, Pro Storms, Dragons.
Yeah. That
matchup, I think Dragons is 50-50. Like if Lightsworns can sack, and I did sack him like with like I got really lucky. The Lightsworn Dragon matchup does feel 50-50, but my losses were to 2 Hero Frog decks. I thought the deck was like amazing, but shout out to Rognark and Cameron.
To Rognark and Cameron,
because they came. I lost the 2nd and 3rd. But the way the deck's built and the strategy is, it's kind of really tough because like we play so many Raikos and the Raiko doesn't really do anything. The VAYUs don't really do anything, and like they kind of have an answer to all our normals. Yeah, it was just a tough matchup, and I think if it wasn't against the Frog Hero deck, I think we would have done all right.
But that's one of the things I love about Edison format, right?
Yeah.
Is that there's just such a wide variety of decks, and there's so much innovation to be made. And obviously, we tried to innovate with this, like doing a smoke screen, trying to catch people off guard.
Yeah, yeah.
And those guys, like they completely did a madness with their Hero Frog deck.
The smoke screen was Barney's idea. Barney told me, I thought it was a cool idea. I thought let me play it too, because Lighsworn was a variance deck. I was like, the more of us that play it, I'm sure.
I'll tell you what, because the reason why I thought of it is because obviously Connor did. So first off, it was Keegan that posted a VAYU deck profile, and it played 6 Lightsworns in the main with 1 solar recharge.
Yeah.
And we were talking about it, and we were like, yeah, it looks good. And after a while, I was thinking like, actually, there's a lot of cards here that share a synergy with Connor's Dirty Swarm list. I went back and I looked at that list from Pumpkin Games where he came second, and there are a lot of overlap. And I thought, what if you play the Lightsworn game 1, then side out the Lightsworn into VAYU, and they're going to side in oppression incorrect. They're going to side in Light Imprisoning Mirror incorrectly, and then we'll have all of our VAYU cards to grind them out and win game 2. So yeah, but I brought the idea to the guys. We ended up testing it for ages.
Shout out to Tristan, because Tristan also said
Tristan. Yeah,
because Tristan said the deck was good, and I was more convinced when he said, yeah, I was doing really well with the deck.
Yeah. Tristan put in a lot of testing, and he helped us with a couple of the ratios. There are a couple of things like at the start we were playing 1 Gale over the Chaos Sorcerer, and it was good and it was doing all right. And obviously it's a crossover into the VAYU deck, but we ended up deciding that Chaos Sorcerer was more impactful of a card, and well, we were so right. Cause,
we have too many normal summons in the deck, innit? Like Chaos Sorcerer special summon.
I'm happy I listened to you guys, because I almost didn't put it in my deck.
Yeah.
So many times it just won me a situation where I would have lost if I hadn't had it in my hand. So like, big shout out to the boys. Connor as well helped us with the list at some bits.
Because obviously he's the Lightsworn veteran.
Connor is the resident Lightsworn.
He's never switching, man.
Yeah, shout out to my boy Connor. But yeah, that's the. What was my tournament like?
You went to losers. I think you played.
I went into losers. No, but I lost to Pro Storm. So I lost to Pro Storm.
And you lost. Unfortunately, you also lost to me. But I was Yeah,
but it's cool though, because we ended up grinding through to the point where we had to play each other.
Yeah, we did. That was just pretty sick.
So like, we took it. Like, you took me out in the end, and
But I think you played better than me. Honestly, I played trash in that game.
No, but I think this is a thing that we're touching on here with Lightsworn, is that the great thing about Lightsworn is, yeah, it's a good deck and it can sack and you can like end up milling triple wolf and just winning a game, but it's like, if you don't open desirable hands, you can just grind, you can bluff.
Especially with this build, like we kind of just play value. We don't play Becky. Yeah. All the cards are kind of just good cards by themselves a lot of the time.
You can grind and you can bluff until you see cards that will help you win the game. Like, so for me, there were so many times in the tournament. I know there were hands that I drew really well, but there were hands where I was drawing really undesirable, and I had to bluff Raiko. So many times I was setting Card Trooper, I was setting Garroth, hoping they didn't attack, so I could summon Celestia. You
set a heavy storm on stream, and they thought it was that was insane against the Blackwing player, and then
against the Blackwing player,
and then you pro stormed him.
Because they see you're playing a couple of real traps, like maybe you're milling and you mill a Mirror Force, and they're thinking, oh damn, he's milled a Mirror Force, like what else could he have? So you're setting a like what eventually is a heavy storm. They're setting 2 into it, and you're just, well, but that's that's quite standard in it. That's pro storm, but for real, it's just like, you got to play through until you see the cards that will get you to the end of the game. So yeah,
it was a pretty fun tournament. It was really fun tournament. Shout out to the guys that organised it. Shout out to Metafy for.
Shout out to Metafy. Shout out to Keegan at E3 Yu-Gi-Oh! Man, you're doing bits for the community. Yeah. We all love what you're doing. And what
you got me into Edison. His videos got me into Edison.
For real, got me into Edison as well. So keep doing what you're doing, because honestly, it's unreal. And big shout out to Jazz and all the guys, Micah and all them in the format library who run the tournament.
We got to shout out our sponsors too.
We got to shout out our sponsors.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Card Market. Brotherhood Games. You got to show the boss man. Come on, bro. Show the boss man.
We're in the shop. Yeah, we're in the shop. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Hopefully you guys can play more Edison, join on the format. The games are like really fun and interactive, and there's so many decks to test, and there's so many routes you could go.
Yeah, for real. It's been a blast, isn't it? Really, like, I'm very excited for the May one. Next one. We qualified for the RBET Rulers tournament.
Qualified for the RBET
Rulers.
Edison Champions League.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the deck, Prof. If you got any questions more about the deck, just drop them in the comments, because literally, like, we could talk about this deck for a while. There's something like small stuff that I'm sure we missed out on.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Cool. All right. This is Marcus and Barney. Catch you guys later. See you later. Thanks, guys.